But I want to bring in Fred Pawle now, who's a good friend of the program, and we've spoken to about other issues in the past. Good to talk to you again, Fred. It's my absolute delight today to talk to you about your labour of love, really, the biography that you've penned about your great mate, my friend, Bill Leak, a man loved by our Sky News viewers as well. Die laughing, the biography of Bill Leak. You've got it out now, Fred. I've been lucky enough to have read the book from cover to cover. It's just such a ripping read. And I suppose I just want to hear from you first up, how close you were to Bill, what it meant to you to lose him and to be writing his biography after his death.
Oh, mate, it wasn't easy at first, I got to say. I mean, being compelled or forced to think about a very, very, very close friend who's just died every day, it's difficult. But, I eventually got over it. And I'm happy to say I eventually treated the project very objectively, and I didn't pull any punches. One of the yardsticks for the book was whether or not I thought Bill would approve of what I put in it. And Bill was a very candid guy. He was so upfront about his own flaws, and he had quite a few of them. Knowing Bill well enough, I left a lot of his flaws in the book, and that's what makes it a ripping read.
Now, we all know about his absolute brilliance as a political cartoonist, unrivalled, really. The draftsmanship, the drawing, but the ideas, the humour, the political satire was just superb. But what fascinated me most in the book is the part of Bill that I didn't get to explore as much, and that is his artistic career, because he'd kind of given up on that in the end. He'd thrown himself full bore into the cartoons, and he'd given up his portraiture. But I was lucky enough to talk to Bill about art a number of times while looking at some of his paintings, and his relationship with the Archibald and the fact that he never won it seems bizarre.
Oh, it does. He was arguably Australia's best portraitist for a brief period sometime in the 90s. There's another portraitist who hasn't won the Archibald either, Robert Hannaford, who's equally as good. And just like Bill, he's a very realist painter. Bill didn't rely on tricks or sort of postmodern gimmicks to make his portraits look stunning. He had a technique or a way of actually making people, revealing what people are simply by the way they look. It's an extraordinary skill, and it was quite justified of Bill to expect that he would one day win the Archibald. And the fact that he didn't, it really, really did bother him. He actually had a breakdown over it at one stage. Not a huge one, but it disturbed him enormously. And then eventually he kind of gave up. He kind of accepted that he would never win it, and the entries he made after that were actually quite stunning because, he wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was just doing portraiture because he loved it.
Was that does the portrait of Sir Les Patterson fit into that category?
Yeah, that's right. There was no way he was going to win the Archibald with that portrait, and so it's in some ways I think it was Bill flipping the bird at the Archibald judges. To be honest,
it was more of a cartoon in a way, but I bet the punters loved it. It's just uproariously funny.
That's right. Yeah, and according to the judges of the Archibald, has no merit whatsoever. But people love it, which if people love it, then surely there's something good about it.
Now the thing with Bill is everybody knows his work. Everybody knows how insightful and funny he was. But he's a very, very serious bloke too, and very serious about his art. And he aspired to great things early. Went to Europe, and just busied himself looking at all the masters, drawing his inspiration, and then painting for a long period while he was in Europe.
Well, one of the things, the common thread here, Chris, is that when he went to Europe as a sort of ambitious young artist, and in your 20s you have all these sort of fancy ideas about what you want to do in life. His pursuit at the time was to seek the truth. And he saw the truth in those days in an artistic context, if you like. And he pursued it with so much passion, and he developed so much skill and knowledge about art. When he eventually transferred to cartooning and to illustration for newspapers, he didn't abandon that pursuit of truth. And in the end, as we all know, it got him into quite a lot of trouble because he saw the truth. He saw what the truth was regarding environmentalism, which got him into a lot of trouble with a particular cartoon regarding solar panels being sent to poor Indian people instead of food. And, of course, his most famous cartoon, the Righto, what's his name then? He was illustrating and trying to get across a message about the truth of Aboriginal disadvantage. There's nothing about what he did then that isn't identical to what he was doing in his 20s, going through those galleries in Europe, seeking the truth. It was his lifelong pursuit.
Great observation, Fred, and congratulations on the book. You've done him proud.
Thank you, mate.
Fred Pawle there, who is the author of Die Laughing, the biography of Bill Leak. You can get it via that website you see on your screen, dielaughing.org.au.